Everybody, this is 10 p.m. It's the APAT show. Of course, it's the APAT show. And Leigh, this is your World Series of Poker special. How cool is this going to be? Who have we got with us?
It's going to be, first of all, Des, you're sounding a lot better than you did last night. So nice to know you're on the mend. Well, we've got two the most knowledgeable people we could find on the World Series of Poker. They know everything there is to know about it. One will be writing about it from Vegas. One will be writing about it from the south coast of England. They are Chris Bean and the one and only John Murray. Good evening to you both.
Oh, I think we've got Chris Bean and John Murray's bag. There he is.
There we go. There is. Thank you very much. How are you both doing? You all right?
Yeah, it's been a great eventful day, but I just counting forward to the days to Vegas.
Oh, yeah, counting down the days to Vegas. I think we're all doing that. I'm not going to Vegas. I think I'm maybe the only person I know who isn't going to Vegas this summer, but even I'm counting down the days, and it's not too many of them left. Now, Leigh, on top of having the guys on to talk about the series within which Chris will be updating, the World Series of Poker Fantasy poker competition that John and Carl run so successfully, we're also going to be looking at some, I use the word high quality advisedly, satellites with seats aplenty.
Yeah, we are. It's that Sunday night. It's that moment on a Sunday night where it's what's it? Fergie used to call it squeaky bum time. It's kind of at that point. It's the big satellite on GG Poker tonight. Road to Vegas. 10 packages up for grabs tonight, so $120,000 in the prize pool. It only just overlaid by about $1,600. That's all it was. We're down to 18. So we're getting close to 2 tables, and then say it's paying top 10. So 10 of these guys are going to get a package. We're estimating that the average stack will be about 3.1 big blinds by the time the bubble bursts on this. So we'll keep an eye on this, because say this is normally hugely entertaining on a Sunday night to see the tactics they use as to how they're going to bag themselves a package to Vegas.
Leigh, it's never about the average stack in this one. It's always about the short stack. And I think we saw a short stack of 0.1 big blinds win a $12,000 package.
Yeah, a couple
of
weeks
weeks ago.
Yeah,
2 weeks ago. Absolutely insane to watch.
Folded their big blind the hand before.
With 1.1 big blinds, they folded. Absolutely fantastic to watch. Much more about the strategy than the play. So it is super entertaining. If you haven't watched this playthrough with us before, stick it out. Right, this is super entertaining.
And if you want to get involved, you can satellite in to these big sats on a Sunday night every single week. They've also got another one running that starts at 10 o'clock, which is a $250 into a package. You can still get into that for $25. There's a few satellites still running for that if you want to get in on a little bit of a late reg, kind of last minute thing. So if you're watching the show and wanted to have a go at that,
fantastic,
then you're well worth checking them out in the lobby.
Fantastic. In the chat box, Leigh, we have the lovely Jo, who didn't surprisingly want to party with us last night. She stuck it out for as long as she could with a couple of boring old farts. And then, she left us sort of high and dry, I felt. Can't say I blame her. I think if I'd been in her position, I'd have left us too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It was great to have Jo and all the gang on last night. Lots of fun on Saturday night. And we had 2 great nights with APAT. We've dished out 4 sets of medals on across Friday and Saturday. $25 comps. Been really good fun to play, and nice to be back doing championship events online and get some decent runners rocking up and joining in with the community. It's been good.
Absolutely. Carl is out there also. Mr. Pilgrim. Evening, folks. Carl, of course, driving the World Series of Poker Fantasy Comp with John. We're going to be pushing the last of you, still haven't registered, into that tonight, right? So get your boots on for the World Series of Poker Fantasy Comp. Simon is out there. Des has recovered. Listen, lovely to see Simon last week in wherever it was the hell we are. I mean, we go to so many places, Lee. It mightn't have even been last week. I don't know. But
it was
Simon
Nottingham. It was definitely Nottingham.
Was it Nottingham? But was it last week, Lee? Was it last week? I can't even tell.
Yeah, it was last weekend. Yeah.
Well, listen, Simon, yes, I have recovered. I got a bit of a man flu, so it was always going to be relatively short, but painful, right? It's important that it was painful. And because Simon, Lee, is our most loyal viewer of the APAT show, I think we can fairly say that. I've developed his own jingle. So, Simon, this one is for you. So, folks, Des has recovered. He has indeed recovered. The Oracle has spoken. Thank you, Simon. Oh, great one.
Wonderful. And on that note, we're in the 10 o'clock, chaps. We're in the 10 o'clock.
Oh, there you go. We'll tell the guys, Lee. We didn't want to balk you. Lee's been doing a bit of qualifying here, guys. He's been trying to sat into the 10 o'clock. Well, he'll tell you himself, but it sounds like he's made it.
Whilst I was waiting for the show to kind of come together, I thought I'd have a go at one of the $25 sats, and just made it into the 250 satellite that's just started about 5 minutes ago. So
fantastic.
We'll see. Still got 100 bigs, so I can dust that off in about 15 minutes. So
it's an extra layer of drama on our show, Lee. As if we hadn't enough drama set aside and stored up. With the whole World Series of Poker thing, now you've got a shot at a guaranteed package.
Yeah, there's only 14 runners in this so far, and it'll need about 40 to hit the guarantee. So, okay. But as we know with these things, there's late reg for a couple of hours, and people will pile into it last minute, especially at $250.
Let's just see how that goes. Joe says, believe me, it was for your benefit, guys, that she bailed on us. To be honest, it was getting a little noisy in Joe's house. Still seemed like a pretty decent spot to be. Hopefully, Lee. Maybe even with Chris and John, we get an invite to the next gig, right?
Yeah,
invite to the next gig.
Fingers crossed. So we're down to 18 in the main stat tonight. Only one player from the UK still in that 18, and it is Tic Tac Tony. I have no idea who Tic Tac Tony is.
I've had a look into it. That's Tony Barnes, and I believe he's from the Manchester area.
Right. Okay. Excellent. Okay. He was chip leader for quite a while. He's now currently 6th in chips. But when we say 6th in chips now, that's 15 bigs. This is where this is.
He's in good shape, Lee. I'll tell you.
It will go quite shallow. This will.
If he can hold that. Ross Bennett's out there, Lee. Do you remember Ross? He went deep in the main last week. Good evening. Enjoyed playing APAT last weekend at DTD and meeting people. Ross, it was good to see you over there, mate. Good run. Very good run. And we will be back, right? We're back at DTD in August. More about that to follow. But listen, we've got the guys on. We want to talk about the World Series of Poker. We're not going to break these two sections out, guys, right? This is all about engagement through the World Series of Poker, whether you're attending or whether you're playing the fantasy game from far away. Let's start with you, Chris, if we can. So you are heading over to Vegas in 2 weeks, I believe. Just over 2 weeks, right?
Yep, fly the 12th of June, and I'll be straight into the action on the 13th.
Super. Tell the guys exactly what it is you're doing over there. It's not your first time, right? You've done this at the World Series before.
Yeah, it's my second time working the World Series. So basically, at the start of the day, I'll write an intro for tournament that I'm covering, and then for the rest of the day, for the 12-hour session, I'll be getting hand histories, walking up and down the tables. I'll be doing about 7 or 8 miles a day, in stats, and doing between 4 and 6 posts an hour. And it's hardcore to the extreme, but it's so much fun just seeing so many of the world's best poker players just in front of you, and you soak things through by osmosis, some different. I've learned so much doing this job, and I've applied it to my game, and I've seen an improvement in my game.
Well, listen, I can't be alone in thinking, oh, wouldn't that be amazing? Wouldn't that be great to go off the World Series, update, be, among all the players for several weeks, stuff like that. But actually, you've just made it sound like a right ball ache, Chris. It sounds like a proper hard work, 7 or 8 miles a day. I mean, do you have to do any training for that? Because not being funny, but you don't just go from like sitting on the couch and stuff like that to suddenly doing 7 or 8 miles a day. I mean, what's your routine up to it?
Well, in my current job at the moment, I'm doing quite a lot of walking anyway.
Yeah.
So like, it's just like the natural fitness carrying forward, even though I'm quite a hefty fella. But but yeah, it is a marathon. Like, you just need to make sure you stay hydrated, wear comfy shoes, and just make sure you get food down your neck when you can.
Oh yeah.
It could be some long days, especially if you're covering like a tournament, like say like Stud 8, where like I think the heads up match last year lasted 23 hours total. It's spread over an additional 2 days. Like, there can be a lot of downtime where there's not a lot happening, but you still need to produce content, because like everyone's expecting like to see something every 5 to 10 minutes.
Oh, Christ, yeah.
Their newsfeed.
Refresh, Control F4. We've all been there. John, in contrast, while you're still going to write tons and tons of content, because you do, you'll be able to do it from the comfort of your own home. Are you missing out on not being? Would you like to be out there having the sort of experience that Chris is? I suppose you'd rather be out there playing, maybe. But how does the World Series? How does it pass from your point of view?
Yeah, I'd love to be there, and I haven't got any plans so far, but I mean, I still haven't decided. I might squeeze in something towards the end of the month or something, end of June or something. But I did before 1 year, tried to play and update, and kind of did half well at both. So anyway, yeah, I've got into training as well, just for sitting on the couch and updating. So I've been walking around the house.
Beer arm,
I think
I'm in shape like that. It's not easy. Love it. John, talk us about the fantasy poker, right? So yourself and the captain have been at this for a few years now. I mean, when did you start? How many runners did you have last year? And just sell it. Tell people who haven't played Fantasy World Series of Poker what it's about.
Yeah, I'm not sure what year we've started. It must be about 10 years now. And
bloody hell.
Yeah, we used to get like 20 people. We used to be really pleased if we got over 20, and it was kind of grew slowly. But then in the last couple of years, it's taken off. We got 55 or something a couple of years ago. And last year we got 81 entrants, which we were ecstatic about. So we're hoping to match. Tonight, we've just got the 50th entry for this year's competition, so we're well on course, because we usually find that quite a few pile in the last day or two, or even.
I can tell you, John, there's at least 2 of us in windows below you who are yet to enter and have plans to do so. So I don't know about you, Leigh. Are you in yet?
I've got one team in.
Okay,
but after it got an absolute slating last night when I read it out on the show,
it's one of the worst teams I've ever seen.
I might have to have another go. And now I know that when I was chatting to Chris before we went live, and he said he was whittling down his teams from a list of 60, and I said, well, I was struggled to even get 10 on my list. I'm clearly going at this from the wrong way. I think I need to to widen my horizons a bit.
Oh, that's fantastic.
A wide range of players get selected. Some people go for the obvious ones who are guaranteed to knock up a lot of points, and then you kind of, I think, to win you need to kind of vary it a little bit and try to find 1 or 2 players who are not picked by everybody else, but who might. That's what I was going to say, John. I mean, we mentioned it last night on the show, and I've pulled up some data and bits and pieces today, because I knew we were going to obviously talk a lot about the World Series, and you looked at the obvious 2, that Helmuth and Negreanu. Can you win this competition by not picking them, or is it a case that they get picked by everybody, so that's is a standard, or do people win by going, I'm going to go with others and find value elsewhere? You could have won last year without them, or even Sean Deep, because Negreanu really bombed last year. He didn't get anywhere. I think he got close to one final table, and that was it. Helmut, he had one really good. I think another kind of close or something like that. But he still overall was well down the scores. And so those three who've like led the way in previous years, you didn't need to have them last year. But the thing is, most years they are right at the top, and it's kind of very brave to go into it without them.
So
I look for players as well who might do something. I mean, 2 years ago, like there was Kevin Gerhardt, for example, who won 2 bracelets, appeared from nowhere, won 2 bracelets. Ryan Lang, the same thing, won a couple of bracelets. I put them both in my teams last year and didn't do anything. I think Gerhardt only showed up right at the very end of the series. So that happens sometimes, a few times before. You've had people who won Player of the Year, you put them in your team, and next time they don't even play, or they play a little bit
guarantee.
like...
Yeah, there's just no guarantees, are there? I mean, there's a bit of chance. I mean, certainly there are players who have fantastic summer records at the World Series of Poker, should be there, should perform well. But of course, it's a fantasy game, right? There are no guarantees. You just go with the best info that you've got. So a couple of questions coming in, and then I want to ask you something, Chris. First of all, from Simon, are you at the World Series of Poker All Series? So what is your schedule over there, Chris?
Yeah, so the series starts this week, and my colleagues have actually gone into the Airbnb today, but I'm going out 2 weeks later because it's my 10th wedding anniversary on Wednesday, and it's my son's 6th birthday on the 11th of June. So
yeah,
I wanted a house to come back to.
That's fair enough. That is fair enough. John, one for you. How many points did D-Negs get? So last year he wouldn't have got too many, right?
I'll have to check that out. But
he didn't get many.
It wasn't that high. I'll need to look it up.
Yeah, well, while you're having a look...
Going to come back to me in a second, I'll let you know.
Yeah, Simon also said mixed games players needed in team. Obviously, the World Series of Poker is... I mean, there's so many variances out there, lots of mixed games. So, Chris, with all of this in mind, I mean, how much, sort of insight on who's going to be playing and stuff like that do you have or do you get? Or is it literally just about, you turn up on the day and you sort of see who you see?
Yeah, pretty much like when I'm going into like one of the bigger fields, say like the Munster Stack or the 777 or the Colossus, like it's pretty much 90% recreational players on the field. So you're struggling to find the big names. So constantly all day, all I'm doing is tapping people on the shoulder. What's your name, so I can include you in Poker News? And like,
oh my god, that's brutal.
Because so like we get like a start a day playlist, but that's constantly updated, and we haven't got access to the software like we do like at other stops. So it makes our job a little bit more difficult. But from day 2 onwards, we've got the player IDs for every single player if they keep hold of their card.
So, but you have to look at their card. Is that right? Or is it cards left on table? Is it that sort of stuff?
So, like at the start of each day too, like we'll dish out, say, if there's 500 players, we'll give like out 500 numbers, and each number corresponds to a player's name, and we just cross-reference on the sheet. And that's if they take a player card number with them, like when they move table, because like you just see them spread across the tables, and like
how can it be so archaic? I mean, last weekend at Dusk Till Dawn, we were able to track every single player, every single minute of the tournament, across 3 or 4 tournaments that were running parallel. How can the World Series of Poker be so archaic?
I don't know. You just have to look at like their online tournaments as well. Like they're using software from AAA.com back in 2004. So but yeah, slowed on the uptake of bringing on new technology. But
And tell me,
hopefully that's going to change.
Yeah, these guys give me the wrong results sometimes, and then they change
I can imagine.
them the next year.
I can
and then
imagine.
people complain that the results are wrong.
Yeah, I can see that. I can definitely see that. Chris, once upon a time, oh no, you still have it, but I don't think it's really taken off in the way that it should have. You guys used to operate the My Chip Stack app, so that players could register themselves and update their chip counts as they went. How come that isn't much bigger than it appears to be?
Well, we still advertise it and we still encourage people to use it. I mean, I'd say probably about 10% of the field of each tournament uses it.
That's not bad.
It's some people don't want to be identified and just want to stay under the radar. And we try and do an update on every major player as much as we can and the biggest stacks in the room. So that's all we try and focus on. It's just impossible to do a chip count of 1,000 players in that's how many players are left at the time.
So who would your 3 wild cards be for this season, Chris? Who would you intend to put into your fantasy team?
Well, I could go through my team if you like.
Give us 3. Give us 3, and maybe then John can give us 3 from some of the entrants that he's seeing, just to give anybody who might be looking to enter the fantasy game just a bit of a steer, as opposed to the entire team.
Yeah. One of the locks for me is Stephen Song. He had an incredible World Series last year, and I don't think many people picked him. I think he had 3 final tables. He plays all the buy-in events. He played the high rollers, he played all the low buy-ins. I think he's a solid pick. I've also put in Adam Friedman. He's a really great mixed games player. He had a deep run in the main event about 10 years ago, I think.
He's been around for years and years.
He's a fantastic player. And despite his blow up at the PokerStars Players Championship, I've gone for Nacho Barbero as well. He's just such a solid player, and he will play absolutely everything.
There you go, guys. Nacho Barbero, Adam Friedman, and Steve Song. John, how would you rate those 3? And can you add another 2 or 3 that you're seeing on entrance coming through?
Well, I'm sure they're great. I mean, I've learned before not to challenge the names that people put up, because sometimes people do a lot better than you think. I've got the 2 I mentioned previously, Kevin Gerhardt and Ryan Lang, I think I would go for. And I can give you a top tip that nobody else is picking. Brad Rubin. I think probably no one. He seems to have flown under the radar. He's won 4 bracelets in the last 3 years, and I think Brad Rubin is definitely going to be on my team.
Wow. Okay, Brad Rubin. There's a hot one, guys. Get Brad Rubin in your team. What about? Sorry, say that again. Oh, don't.
Yeah.
Shh. Sorry, John, you blew that one.
I was only telling you.
What about Poker Bunny? Poker Bunny, what do you think?
Yeah, you need some entertainment in the team. I think we don't need all these.
Oh, there's no respect.
All these,
are you on the Doug Polk or the Phil Galfond side, John?
I'm on the Poker Bunny side.
I'm on the Poker Bunny side. That's fair enough. That is fair enough. Tell the guys, John, because we're going to get into the drama of this satellite very, very shortly. In fact, are we there, Lee?
No, we are hand for hand at the moment. We're down to 12.
And how many packages do we have?
10. So
10. Okay.
Yeah.
So John,
I was only sighing because I was just playing a hand and I'd turned a set and so was playing it very good, and we checked down the river in the end because he rivered a set. I mean, welcome to the
Did
world
of
Yeah.
So, it's not good, guys. Didn't
cost me too many chips though, so we played it cautiously, so we're okay.
Excellent. John, tell the guys how and how much and when all of that stuff they have to enter by.
Yeah, there is a link on the APAT thread, and there's also one on the fantasy APAT fantasy thread. It's £10 to enter. All of the money all of the entry fees get paid back out as prizes, and plus several other prizes, some of which are added by our generous sponsors, including APAT, which is including.
Wow, well, we
sorry, what, Leigh? We're sponsoring this. We're sponsoring this stuff.
When did that happen? Honestly,
shit. How the hell does that work?
Yeah.
Is that like tax deductible or something, Leigh?
Yeah,
I mean,
no, I don't worry.
Yeah,
I've got it working in our favour. Yes, it'll be fine. Honestly, it'll be okay.
So I believe there's a seat for the winner, at least, and there are other goodies. And Carl has donated some lucky socks as usual, which is obviously the star prize that people aspire to. That's going to.
Are they his own socks? Are they actually his own socks? Or does he buy them, or
he has to wear them for a week beforehand.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, okay, fine. Yeah,
nicely freshly warmed, toasted. Yeah. They've been toasted.
We're trying to get ones that get some player in the World Series to wear, some famous player to wear for a week, and then send them over, so they'll be nice and hot.
Well, hey, you've got Chris that could probably
give him to Chris.
That can't be difficult because surely you want. So if Chris is doing, what are you doing, Chris? 6 days a week, 5 days a week?
50 miles. Get about 50 miles into them in a week.
Yeah, so I reckon you'll have done 50 miles in a week in those socks.
Oh, they'll be toasty. Yeah, sweet. Corny. Lovely.
Yeah, not with my application.
Carl is at pains to add here, never walked in, though. So thanks for that, Carl.
Very good, Carl. Very good. Yeah.
Boom, boom.
Yeah. Boom, boom.
And it is a slick process, John, because I put my team in earlier on in the week, and you've got it all on a beautiful Google form thing with a link already there for how you can pay as well, and instructions on how to pay to make sure you don't get charged any fees and all that malarkey. So yeah, it's super smooth to get organised and get in. So really easy to do. The hardest thing is picking your 10. That's the toughest thing to do. Yeah.
We'd ask people to make sure that when they're doing the PayPal thing that they don't change it, because you get an option of friends and family, or the other one is paying a business or something. If you change it to that, then a fee is deducted. But if you leave it on the family and friends or whatever it's called, then the whole £10 comes through.
Listen, I'll tell you what I'll do, guys. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm going to put up a picture of an APAT player from last weekend. It's been doctored ever so slightly. The first person in the chat box to tell us who it is, right? The first person to name the player, I'll donate a free entry into the fantasy poker comp, so a tenner, whatever it is, right? So 3, 2, 1. Who is this player? First to get it wins the prize. No spoilers now. No spoilers in the studio, please.
I won't say anything.
Well, there you go. It's live. It's live. I'm not seeing any answers yet. I can't believe it.
You're on about a 20-second delay. So
yeah, that's all right. That's all right. So
it's a character from Grand Theft Auto 4, isn't it?
I think I've left that up long enough. We'll either get a name or we won't. So there you go, guys. Put your guess in the chat box.
I'll tell you what's interesting. When I was running through some stats earlier on, and you talk about, John, about somebody and he's won 4 bracelets and this. So there's only like about we're on the 54th. Is it the 54th World Series? I think this one is. I think that's right. I think so. There's only been 1,539 bracelet winners in that time.
Really?
Yeah. What percentage of those 1,500 odd players do you think have won more than one bracelet?
100-ish.
Or 100%?
No. I believe that about 60 or so have won 3, I think. So, yeah, I don't know, maybe 120.
It's actually nearly 300. It's 20%.
Really?
20% have won more than one.
Well, they'd have to be with so relatively few winners over such a relatively long period of time.
But in saying that, the sort of the double figures players, there's not many in double figures. I think it's only about 4 that are in double figures. And I say the vast majority, I think. How many did you say you thought had won 3 or more, John?
I thought it was about 60, but
no, it's 124.
Is it?
Wow.
Yeah, 124 have won 3 or more now.
Okay, I'll ask you a question. Name how many players under 40 have won more than 4 bracelets?
Under 40?
Currently,
So what won more than...
More
under
than
40
4.
won more than 4.
It's probably, I'm going to say
Under
not too many,
40.
if any.
There can't be many.
If any.
There's 2. Okay, there's 2.
Is there 2? Oh, well, let's put that out to the chat, see if they can work out who the 2 are then, if there's 2. That's.
I can ask you, I can give you a supplementary question.
Yeah.
How many under 30 have won 4?
Is that still 2? Is that still 2 as well?
That's also 2, yes.
So it's the same, 2. Yeah.
Sometimes there have been others previously but they're now over 30.
Obviously, yeah. So at this moment in time, so there's 2 players at the moment that are under 30 that have got 4 or more bracelets,
and that's 2 under 40 who've got more.
I mean, Chris, you must surely. I mean, I don't know. You get so many players in your brain that you write a report about, trying to think who would even be under 30. You know, and has won 4 bracelets.
Yeah. I'm just struggling with the players' ages, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because like some players look like it could be between 25 and 50. So
yeah.
Wow.
See whether anybody in the chat can come up.
Yeah, I can leave it with you. Oh, in the meantime, Negreanu got 8 points last year, so he was very much towards the bottom of the
8. Wow.
Whereas
not too many.
Dan Zach, who was top, got 81, I believe.
And he was the top. I was one of the questions I was going to ask you, John. So he was the top point scorer last year.
Yeah, but by some distance.
We have a candidate, Jungle Man.
Jungle Man is not one of them. No.
Talking about Jungle Man, have you seen who's on?
Sorry, guys, you're gonna have to put up with this now.
Have you seen who's on this table?
Oh right,
Daniel Cates. No way.
Has had 3 buy-ins in this satellite, and is currently 10th of the 12 players remaining. We're now down to an average stack of 4.4 big, so we're getting to that time.
Is he a resident of survival?
Yeah.
Let's keep an eye in on this. I think, guys. Let's see how this goes.
So we still got. So Tic Tac Tony is still going. He's got 1.7 bigs. He's over on the other table. In fact, he's just gone all in.
Come on, Tony.
Let's see. Is he going? Strong Horse has got 8.5 bigs. Is surely going to call here.
There is no surely.
Yeah. But they're going to slow play it round. They are hand for hand now. So
I think the words that Dari used a couple of weeks ago was, "Well, why would you? Why would you call? Don't."
Okay. Yes, he did say that. Yeah. Strong Horse is saying just one time. It's King Jack for Tic Tac Tony. He's gone in with Queen 5. Well, he's hit his Queen, but Tony's
fluffed the world.
Flopped the lot.
Flopped the world.
That's just what he needed at that moment in time. Yeah.
Wow.
So we'll get his double up. Yeah.
And I think that's why Dara said it. You know,
all in a call on the other table, and it's Jungle Man all in. Ace King versus Jacks.
Oh no, not the Jacks, Lee.
Need to avoid diamonds as well. Against Gatti 07. It's not blue. It's not blue. And he's going to get a double up as well. And he's going to get a double up.
Wow.
This is what it's about. You've just got to win your hands here now if you decide to get your chips in the middle. Short stack. Well, actually, Laszlo Molnar is all in with 0.4 of a big. So plus will have put in their ante as well. So say half a big basically.
Cates is all in again with 5 bigs. He's thinking
it's going to get one callers. It's King 9. It's Ace. Oh, well, it's what you need when you're all in whatever and you get an ace. Oh, but the King.
Boom. That's going to be one of them.
That's going to be Laszlo Molnar gone. So that's 1 down. 1 to go. Over on the other table. Strong Horse has shoved on Tic Tac Tony, who's decided to fold out of the big blind, so back down to 2.5 bigs now. So there's 2.1 here and a couple of 2.5s. There's a 1.4 on the other table that's going to be big. Has gone all in under the gun. Is going to get called, I think. Let's get across there to that one. Has gone all in for 1.4 bigs under the gun. Now this is one the other week where you fold here and just let the blinds come through, because you only need to win that hand. It doesn't really matter. So unless they've actually got a serious hand, because they're going to get called, aren't they? I'd imagine, guys. Yeah. Oh, but the small blinds coming in as well.
The small blind should not have done that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this is going to go check, isn't it? Because this is the stone cold bubble for the seat. We'll see what Yageva has got in a minute. Any diamonds out there?
Yageva could take this with a diamond.
Oh, ace of diamonds. That's
Nice.
what you need at the right time. Quick fold, and Yageva's going to miss out with ace 10. Should have folded, really. And there you go. It's done. As simple as that. It's
Wow.
that is all over. And
can we now say that we've had Dan Cates on the show, Lee?
technically speaking, yeah, I think we can. Yeah,
Fantastic.
We can
I like it.
get away with that. Yeah. So
Super
definitely the
smooth, super smooth this week, Lee. There weren't too many super shorties.
No, there was a few there, but again, I think there's a couple of things there, as you say, Chris. First of all, the question is shoving under the gun with ace 10 off. Is that sensible to do?
Yeah.
And what was the small blind doing, getting involved there?
It seems crazy.
Just seems a crazy one to do. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Lee,
mean, it's
sorry, I was going to say Andrew Smith wants to know what site is this.
This is GG Poker, which is GG Poker is APAT's online partner for this year. So check it out. You can go on to apat.com/GG Poker if you need a link or want to get involved on a sign up. Just do that. Sorry, cut you off there, Chris.
Yeah, go for it, Chris.
Yeah, just with them being so short, like there's no way they should he should be involved. Just keep out of it. And like they had like number 2 orbits, like they had the seat sewn up, like they just need to get involved. It's fair enough if everyone had like 20 big blinds and he called and everyone just checked it down. But it's like when they're so short, you're guaranteed a seat. Just stay out of it. But
yeah. I mean, crikey, he's just lost a 12 grand package, just gone like that. We have another entrant, Joe Cada, for the 4. John? It's got to be over 30, right?
He's over 30 now. I think he did have 4 before he was 30, but he's now over 30.
Okay. So you might as well tell us, John, who are the guys? Who are the 2?
Is Calvin Anderson one?
No, he's not.
No.
Again, other ones who did get there before 30, but they're now over 30. I think Dominic Nietzsche was, and Julian Martini has just gone 30, and he's got 4. But the 2 who are still under 30, just about, is Michael and
Michael who? Say that again, John. We lost you. Michael.
Did you lose me?
Yeah.
Michael Adamo.
Oh yeah, Adamo, of course.
Australia.
Big reputation in recent years.
And Adrian Matios.
Okay.
Oh, of course, yeah. Okay,
yeah.
so two very well-known players actually. Yeah, so it wasn't any sort of randoms. Other interesting one I saw when I was just looking through stats. Obviously, Doyle Brunson passed away recently and had picked up 10 bracelets, and it also had alongside his WSOP caches as well. Now I think this might also include circuit events as well, but it's still a ridiculously small number. His WSOP caches is only 37, and of those 37 he won 10 of them. That is absolutely nuts, isn't it?
What was he doing for the rest of the time?
Yeah, just that's insane to think that you've got pretty much a 1 in 4. If you cash a World Series event, you're winning a bracelet. What an incredible record that is!
Wow. Well, listen, these guys might have lots of bracelets, and some might have 4 bracelets at 30. But as Carl quite rightly says, how many of them have APAT medals? Right,
exactly.
It's a reasonable point. Well made.
Yeah, not many of them do. And if you did pick up an APAT medal in the last couple of days, if you finish in the top 3 of any of the championship events, just go on to apat.com/medal and either let us know the event you're going to be at, where we can bring your medal along and you can collect it in person, or pop your address details in and we will get a medal in the post for you. That is how we are doing it these days. So
that's how we roll. Did either of you guys play over the last couple of nights the medal events? It seemed to have been just very popular.
Yeah, I played the Omaha last night. I got in the top 20, I think.
Okay.
I had a couple of disgusting bad beats, but I won't dwell on that.
I played one event, PL Omaha Bounty, I think it was on Friday, but it didn't work out.
Didn't work out, Leigh. Sometimes I feel we should maybe have a psychologist on the show after we've had a medal weekend, you know, just to talk to people and reassure them that all is fine.
It's like Dara said. We had Dara on show the other week, and we were talking about Vegas. And I don't know whether you guys watched that show, but he made the comment about when he's out in Vegas, he keeps an eye out for people that are struggling and finding things tough. I mean, I guess from the reporting that you do, Chris, you must see players sometimes at their absolute lowest when they've just bust a tournament, and you're busy scribbling down their exit hand or whatever. You know, time and time again, it's it can be tough, can't it?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's a grind for the players as well as us. Like, if you've just bubbled a tournament which you've already been in for 2.5 days, like you've just wasted 2.5 days of your playing, and you could have been in another tournament and like be running deep in that. It takes a mental toll on players, and like I've seen like quite a few people like probably degenerating a bit too much like after a tournament, but you just need to. I mean, cash can just change like your progression in the series, and like just get you onto bigger things.
Yeah. Well, Dara was you know, he would say he would go up to some players if he thought they were on a low ebb. Maybe they're coming in on the back of a big reputation. They go a week or 2 weeks without a score, and obviously, you know, they're feeling under it. And he would you know, just sort of say, you know, how are you doing, and you know, try and push them into a bit of company and stuff, which I thought was very decent, considering there's so many people in Vegas. I can imagine it'd be quite easy to find yourself alone all the same, and over 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks with so much money at stake, it's probably not a great experience to be in Vegas feeling that way.
It's not a city to be skinned in, it really isn't.
No. So you guys are doing Airbnb, Chris, is that right? I mean,
yeah.
Do you, you know, without getting into any specifics, but you're obviously going to live out there on expenses and stuff like that from your work. Do you have, you know, do they give you enough of a, you know, a budget to be able to have a good experience, or is it quite a frugal sort of few weeks for you?
I mean, like the expenses themselves, it's fine. Like it's covered my flights and it's covered my accommodation. It's just the food is like probably the biggest expense, and like travel. Like, but fortunately, like, there's going to be 7 of us in the Airbnb, so getting in like an Uber or a Lyft, like it'll probably cost like $5 each. So it's not too bad. Like I was in an Airbnb with just one other guy last year, and like the taxi fares like soon ramped up because like I was paying like $40 a day getting to the venue and back. So like but like yeah, like we get access to the staff canteen, which is good. So like we can get food there, but it can get quite samey. Like the meatloaf is awful. So like
Meatloaf, is he still singing? I thought he'd expired. But it's nice that they put entertainment on for you.
Literally, all it is like it's like we just get a big massive block of mince, and they just put tomato ketchup on it and bake it.
Oh
in
my
the oven.
God, that sounds like a bat out of hell. Oh,
hey, boom, boom, yeah.
I'm here all week.
But that's it's finding a way to break that monotony, isn't it? Because it can be just right. You lose track of even what day of the week it is, and one tournament moves on, and it's, you know, and it's the next, and it's the next, it's next. Do you like the fact that you I presume that, you know, you've not got your series mapped out, so you'll know maybe week by week as to what tournaments you're going to be covering, and the variants that are out there means you've got plenty to, you know, to pick. And actually, if it's something that's not No Limit Hold'em, I bet to a certain extent you're going great, because actually it's something different to write about.
Yeah, well, I'm one of the oddities, and I love writing mixed games. But I received my schedule earlier this week, and I'm mainly on No Limit Hold'em and Omaha tournaments. I'm covering the seniors and the super seniors, so that will always be interesting because it's just like a car park for mobility scooters and the poker room. But yeah, probably the event I'm looking forward to the most is the mini main event because that's like the people's trophy. So.
Well, hopefully that's on my list. So hopefully I'll be playing that.
Leigh, talking about your list, we were speaking last weekend, and you said you were thinking of going out in December for the WPT Championship, which I thought was really interesting to hear. Obviously, super successful last year, but I saw it announced over the last week or so that the $1 million buy-in one drop is actually going to be part of the WPT World Championship.
Yeah.
How do you feel updating on tournaments like that, Chris? Because I'm sure John sees this as well, but small tournaments with such huge both buy-ins but also payouts, they seem to be super exciting from afar. What are they like to update?
Well, I've never covered something as big as that. I've done a couple of 25Ks, but it's a completely different feeling reporting because you're just reporting on the big names in these big buy-ins, whereas in the smaller buy-ins it's unknowns and it's probably going to be their only moment in the sun potentially, or it could be the start of a new career. So I find that a bit more exciting than the bigger buy-in stuff because that's covered by the streams and live coverage. So not many people may be reading up on poker news about that. So people probably be tending to watch live streams over that.
Yeah. And do you ever get to see the number of views that your live events get? So do you know when you've got a ton of people watching in, or is that sort of detail on the side?
We've got access to it, but I don't really look into the figures. I'm just focusing on pumping the content out. That's my manager and editors. They're more concerned about the numbers because obviously that's what drives the revenue for the site.
Yeah. And John, you put in a whole lot of effort and creativity in writing updates once events are finished. Of course, your focus is on how players have done from within people's fantasy teams and stuff like that, but they're always very entertaining. Why do you put so much effort in? I mean, it's super entertaining, but where do you find the energy to do that? Because it's it's value way up above what is expected, I would have thought.
Yeah, I just do it because I enjoy it.
Yeah,
I like finding out details about the players, especially ones that aren't well known. If somebody unknown wins something, I like to just Google them and find out about them, some details, and put it on. Just because I think people might find it interesting. This guy is a chemist or an actor or something, and he's gone and won a bracelet. I just do it because I like it.
It's very well received. That I know for sure. And tell me, John, do you or have you ever had an interest, as Carl does, in trying to worm your way into players' DMs to find out what they're playing? And do you ever go to players and say, "Hey, you've been well chosen in this little comp we're playing"? Do you ever do any of that stuff?
No, that's Carl's speciality.
Oh, isn't it just?
Befriending some of the players.
You say befriending, some would call it stalking. I mean, just depends.
Staking.
Yeah.
So I'm here to stake you is normally his intro line, and they understand that he just spelled that wrong quite quickly afterwards.
I mean, I kind of stalk some of them. I kind of follow a few of them quite a few on Twitter, particularly coming up to the series and during the series to see what's going on and that kind of thing. So that's one of the places where you get a nugget of information and then follow it through and find some more about it. Because you find them discussing something and it turns out to be something quite juicy.
Nice.
I'd like to put in, if there's any bit of scandal we can turn up about any of the, or anything like that, then we like to explore that as far as we can.
Oh, quite right. Talking about scandals and stuff. So, Chris, you'll be across this, I'm sure. Certainly, Poker News was across it. The whole bullying in poker story that seems to have been, running the circles over the last few weeks. Doug Polk pretty much at the center of it, Charlie Carroll, and a whole host of others. What have you made of that? And do you think will any of that creep into the actual, events themselves?
I don't think it'll affect the events themselves. I mean, Doug Polk, he's a divisive figure. He's essentially just doing this for clicks, really.
Yeah.
I don't think Charlie Carroll helps himself sometimes with some of his views, to be honest, I've just been trying to ignore it because it's just a lot of hot air for me.
Yeah. How about you, John? Have you been keeping an eye on that?
No, pretty much the same. I've kind of ignored some of that. I do like a good bit of scandal, or a good bit of when people do things maybe they're not supposed to. But I haven't followed that one so much. Yeah. But I do like to talk up some of these other players that people shy away from. Like Jake Schindler and Ali. What do you say, Imzarovich or what, and a few others. Sometimes I feel kind of we got a bit het up that this person is cheating or whatever, and these guys are all millionaires who might be cheating each other. It has really, I'm not sure it has much effect on the normal, the average player. So yeah. I'm not too overly concerned that one millionaire has cheated a bit out of another millionaire or whatever. I mean,
I think, I think poker players can be a bit weather beaten at times, and it's very easy to pick out eccentric people, of which there are many within poker. I mean, I mentioned Poker Bunny earlier, right? Mm-hmm. She's super easy to, a bit eccentric, But our own Natalie is having dinner with her, I believe, when she goes to Vegas in the next week or two, and says she's absolutely lovely. So, it's so easy to get into these, finger pointing exercises on Twitter when actually people at the other end of it may be perfectly normal and super nice and what have you.
Poker needs characters. Poker needs these kind of things. Otherwise, I mean, there's nothing to write about. Theres nothing for people to kind of get interested by. So you do need them, and ultimately, you're always going to have heroes. You're always going to have villains. You're always going to have a bit of scandal. I guess it's when it just gets taken to the nth degree and gets a little bit too much. I mean, the latest one this week is now talking about people using solvers whilst they're at the tables, isn't it? I mean, that's the kind of the latest discussion. Just before the series, give something everyone to talk about something. How serious any of it is, I'm not really sure. But
yeah, it doesn't sound like fun though.
No, it's not. But ultimately, solvers are out there, so that people are studying. People are looking at at kind of hand charts and all this kind of thing, and if they're able to learn them and learn the basics of that and then utilize it in the game, well, good for them. If they're prepared to put the time and effort in to do that, to give themselves an edge, that's not
no issues
cheating
with that.
as such. It's finding the balance of what you can use at a table. And as people are pointing out, saying, well, people are on their phones all the time. I mean, back in the day, you weren't allowed to use your phone at a poker table. You had to properly step away and all that. But it's become so much more relaxed nowadays in phone use at the tables that how do you police what anybody's doing on their phone?
But I remember a few years ago, in the main event, it was on one of the live tables. I think it was a lad from the UK, and he got reaching in his top pocket, and he had these silver charts. He was looking at all the different shove ranges, and he was I think he got a round penalty for looking at these pieces of paper.
It's like being sat at a blackjack table with the approved system to play. I think that's okay. Generally not too frowned upon. But solvers at the poker table live, probably going to take a little while to get used to that one.
But I understand if you're in a hand, but I think if you're not in a hand and you've gone to your phone to look something up or to check something, I mean, how do you? Yeah, what if you're in a WhatsApp group and you've just posted up your hand exit, or your last hand you played and you popped it in your group to chat, to your mates or whatever. Maybe some of them are staking you or whatever, and a few of them come back and say, oh, you should have done this, you should have done that, or that would have been this, or that would have been that. What are you supposed to do? Not read that until you finish the tournament for the day? But so I say it's very difficult to police what's considered acceptable or not.
Being like on the live streams, like all players have to hand their phone in, like no matter what. So I think it needs to be universal, like a rule for it. So like for me at a table, like especially if you're in a hand, you shouldn't have your phone on at all. Like if you're out of a hand, then can have a quick look. But for me, go back to the old days, like just no phones at all.
And then people will say, but that's what I use to listen to me. I mean, I've watched people sat watching films on their phones whilst playing live poker, with headphones on. It's just sat watching TV or something like that, or the football match or whatever it might be. It's difficult to say. It's a tricky one. But I'd be with you. But you make a good point, Chris. If you're on a live stream table, it's a different set of rules for that one particular table in the tournament. Well, that doesn't feel right either, does it? It should be consistent across all tables.
Absolutely. And I find it mad that like when people are doing multi-table and they're playing online and playing live as well, it's like how do you like separate the two games? It's just insane to me. And
it's difficult. And Simon's in the chat says, first time he played at the WSOP, he said there was no devices allowed. He couldn't even bring his gramophone in. Apparently, right. They wouldn't allow it.
He had to get to his table on a steam-driven mobility scooter.
That's
stuff.
what that was.
There's a guy behind him shoveling coal in. I'm not going to play it again. I'm not going to play it again.
But how times have changed, and they will continue to change. I think you mentioned the WPT, Des, and I think the feedback that came from that last year was players really, really liked that. And although the World Series is the pinnacle, and I think it still is the pinnacle for players, guys, do you feel there's going to come a time with others upping their game that maybe the World Series has got to look at itself and go, right, how do we evaluate what we're doing? How do we develop? How do we improve what we're doing? You can't just keep throwing in a few new tournaments every year and go, we freshened it up. They're going to have to constantly looking at ways of actually improving the player experience to make players want to come back, because there's so much poker to choose. Do you see that happening in coming years?
Well, I think. Go on, John.
I say they seem to be getting the numbers. I mean, I know they've changed venue and so on, but they were breaking the records last year, and they're guaranteed to break them this year because they've engineered it, haven't they? Because they've done a load of satellites for the main event, so it's guaranteed to break the record. But even for the other events, they're getting the numbers. We got 95 tournaments this year, and this number of tournaments is just growing, and they're filling them. And they got this $300 buy-in now. They're going to get, God knows how many people are going to get for that. Probably about 1 million maybe. I mean, I know some of the experience wasn't. You could say it wasn't great. I mean, the times I went, it was the things that weren't great didn't matter so much because it was. It was like being in Disneyland, kind of just being at the World Series, and so some things like the food cost a fortune and so on, and you had to walk a mile and things. But I haven't been to the new location.
I would say, John,
those things didn't harm it for me.
No, I would say, John, the biggest thing at the moment is probably the registration and cashing out process and the time that's taken to get registered and then get your seat allocated. And I don't know how much of that you see, Chris, from your kind of vantage point at the series. But I hear so many stories of players in some of the really big weekend events that they can be queuing for hours just to get registered. Then they can be on an alternates list and queuing for another hour to get their seat allocated to them. And that's kind of 3 hours of their day to play for what could be, like as John mentioned, maybe it could be the $300 comp or a $400 or $600 comp. I think they need to get slicker with that.
Yeah, all I can recommend is just to do all the admin stuff on the night, like do it 10 p.m., 11 p.m. the night before, because there's no queues and you get sorted straight away. You get your seat assignments, and then you just need to hand your slip in and get your chips. And it just bypasses all of those queues, and do the same. Like you can cash in like at that time of night. Like if a pay cage is open 24 hours and there's no queues like around between 10 p.m. 2 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah,
just do it then. Like
makes a lot of
and
sense.
just saves you queuing. Yeah.
That's the way to do it, but I think you get a problem if you get knocked out of a tournament that you were hoping to not get knocked out of, and you want to do another one. Then you can't really avoid it. But otherwise, yeah, I'd agree with you.
And they have got the Bravo Poker app, which is great. I think if you're in the US, it's a little bit more hit and miss if you're not, as to whether it'll take your card the time you want to buy in or not. Just I didn't use it last year, but Paul Haycock did, and he was probably 50-50 on which ones it got him in for and which ones it didn't. He used it previously and it wasn't a problem, but they need to get slick with that. I mean, it's kind of for those that don't know, it's similar to kind of the Lux on Pay that we've been using for APAT events, really. And once they get that properly slick and done, I think it'll make such a difference for players being able to just buy in on the app and actually get the seat allocation on the app and pretty much just go and sit down and get playing some poker. I dread to think the numbers they could do if they got that whole process really, really slick.
Yeah, but it's World Series of Poker. It's like the slow in getting things in. I think 2 years ago was the first time I had a chip and pin machine of a cash desk.
They haven't got Lux on over there yet, Leigh, I assume.
No, not yet.
Because that would make a lot of sense, right?
Yeah, it would. And I think from what I've seen of the two apps, I think Luxon is a much better app from a kind of customer point of view. So, but I guess that's the point in general. I think it was, so when I first went to Vegas about 8 years ago, I mean, chip and pin was in this country everywhere. Pretty much that was it. It's been in for a while, but in the States, it still wasn't. It wasn't in. It's only more recent times that's even come in the shops and things. As an option.
Mm-hmm.
I think just in general in America, the banking system's just like really, really old fashioned, and like I mean, a lot of places it's still swipe and sign. Like
yeah. You still have to take your passport with you everywhere just in case you need ID. Yeah, sort of.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I mean, it's very much still a cash society out there.
Yeah. And listen, talking about America, wasn't it lovely last week to see our own Joe Chillmaid sharing a platform with the one and only Donald Trump? There we go. Just lovely to see, guys. It sends me back to 2020, which was obviously not a great time unless you were a streamer, at which point it was a brilliant time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, he might be back.
He might be back. It looks like he's got a lot of people running against him. A lot of them are better than him, but not many of them will be louder than him. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Of course, he might be in court for all of the key dates. So, who knows?
Do both at the same time. Yeah.
So, Chris, do you, when you're on your kind of days off, what do you tend to do? Because you're obviously doing 12-hour days and doing all that walking. Do you get a chance to actually, do anything in Vegas, or you pretty much, is it downtime and just rest and recuperation?
Laundry mainly, but
okay.
But no, I've highlighted a few tournaments that I want to play, but I'm not really rolled to be playing in any of the World Series stuff. So I've seen a couple of New Orleans series and a couple of Golden Nuggets that I'm thinking of playing. Like there's a $200 Raz tournament at Orleans I'm thinking of playing. and a $300 bait game, I think. So,
and I guess it's finding something that's maybe a 1 day or a 2 at the max, that you can then make work for yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I do have like a 4-day gap, like just after, I think just before Independence Day, but it's like main event season, so a lot of like places have like got competing like main events, so it's a little bit out of my price range. So I think that'll be I might play on WSOP online, see if I can start latent something.
If you've got 3 or 4 days, I mean, just go and buy an RV, drive it into the desert, and cook some meth.
Yeah, I mean,
it would have been quiet there.
Was that not, Chris? Was that not on your list, on your to-do list? No, is it? No.
Not I've considered, but now you put it in my head. You know.
Listen, bring shovels, right? Whatever you do, bring shovels.
So you've got 4 days off before July the 4th, yeah?
Yeah, I think so. I'll just double check it out, but
sweet. Well, we're out there at that point.
Nice.
So so we'll definitely.
Oh, it's actually the day after. So like 5th of July to the 8th of July, I'm off. So like
brilliant.
Yeah. So once you win the mini main event, Leigh, then you can take us out for a couple of drinks.
Yeah. That sounds. To be honest, I'll need to win it to take us out for a couple of drinks on the strip. It's got quite expensive if you're kind of on the strip side of things. That's for sure.
Don't worry, I know the cheap places. So,
just get 16 of you around a pie gow table. That's all you need to do.
Yeah.
The stage doors across the road. It's like $1.50 for a bottle of Bud. $2 for a double Jack Island Coke.
This is the place Tom was talking about, Leigh.
This is what you and what you can get for $5. Well, you just will make your eyes water. Yeah, it really will. Yeah,
for days afterwards.
Yeah, which is it is actually just kind of on the side entrance from the horseshoe, isn't it? I think so.
Yeah, like there's actually a good shortcut because there's a smoking section in the horseshoe bit where just near the feature table.
Yeah,
that's where the smokers go. If you just walk down the stairs, and it's literally just across the road from there. So.
Yeah, I must admit I do like the kind of split. I know, John, you said you've not been there with the new venue. I really do like Paris and Horseshoe, or what was Bally's, and the fact that you tend to play most of your day ones at Paris, and then if you're playing at Bally's, it means you're doing quite well. It's got a really nice feel about it, and it's not really much of a walk, and it's not often during middle of a tournament you do actually have to make the trek between the two.
Yeah.
But if they do, they manage it off quite well, and and you bang slap in the middle of the strip. It's a really nice feel to it.
Brilliant to see the Horseshoe name back on the strip as well, isn't it?
Mm. But I have to say, it is hilarious watching the players moving from Paris to Bally's, because like they literally corral like 50 players together, and then have one TD at the front and one TD at the back, and it's like seeing like kids walking from like one school to the other. I'm
surprised they don't put them all in high vis jackets. And
is there somebody up front with a sign?
Yeah,
with a sock
Follow me,
on the top. Follow the sock.
No, I follow the gourd.
Oh, look at that for a river card. Wow.
How are you doing here, Leigh? I mean, 35 big blinds. You seem to be in pretty decent shape.
So we're so there's 33 runners in it so far.
Yeah.
There's 25 of us left. I am 4th in chips. But long way to go yet.
Yeah.
There's another 50 odd minutes of late reg to go, so loads of time to go in this.
I would love to say we're going to stick with you, but I'm hoping that you're going to go on far beyond.
It's only one. It is one package up top, and you say you've got to run pretty good to get through any of this. But I've not really made any mistakes yet. I've not got it in bad yet, so we're in okay shape for the moment.
So we discussed it briefly last night, Leigh, but of course our normal Sunday night audience might not have been on board last night. Great set of events in Nottingham just over a week ago, culmination in the main event, and Richard Baker took it down. 475 players, 75, 76.
Yeah.
Hell of a result. He's been playing APAT for many, many years. I don't think he's seen a final table since 2009. What did you make of it?
Yeah, I thought it was a great 5 days, and Richard was the chip leader coming off the online day one on GG.
He was.
And and so pretty much rocked up on the Sunday, already in the money. Funnily enough, he was sat on the table right near you, Des, alongside David, who he eventually was heads up with. They pretty much were sat next to each other for the whole of the day too. David from Utah is over here on business and a bit of a cash game player, and wanted to get in and play a few more tournaments. So saw our event was available. He'd been playing cash at Dust Till Dawn a little bit and liked the club, so decided to rock up and play the tournament, and ends up right through heads up. Really, really nice guy. I don't think he put a foot wrong really on that final table, and it was played in a really good spirit. We saw some incredible hands play out. If you think we talk about online runouts are a little bit crazy, some of the stuff we saw at Dust Till Dawn on the weekend was mind-boggling. But really pleased for Richard. Again, I don't think I thought he played the final table really, really well. And he's always been, I've always said he's been, Mr. Consistent, or, regularly makes day twos. John will kind of contest that. You've played many a day two with Richard, but never really kind of gone on deep in events for a long, long time.
Yeah, Richard is great. I remember that tournament in 2009 in Luton.
Luton, that's right.
He came.
Euros. And, that's the one Stu won, right?
Yeah, that's right. And I was talking to Richard there kind of late on in the tournament, and say it was his first time that he'd played APAT, and I was saying, he should come back, play again. And he said, yeah, I think I will. And now look, we can't go rid of him.
I seem to remember Silky from Germany was on that final table as well. Just a shame you didn't say the same to her, John. Your time would have been very, very well spent there. It would be nice to have a lot of Germans on our final tables. But in saying that, GG, right, back open. So we've got the international gates all open again. So lovely to see some of the international players playing the online legs over the last few days. How are you doing, Leigh? That was a sigh. Have you lost something?
Yeah, I was going to reshove, and actually I took so long trying to decide. I ended up not doing it, and actually I had the same hand that he had with, but in hearts. So I'm not overly bothered. It was only a big blind, but it sometimes doesn't give you quite enough time. I just literally set it ready to go, and I was going to reshove it, and then it timed me out. So no harm done.
Surprisingly, guys, our player from last week, who we put up in the little competition, nobody hazarded a guess as to who this was. Surprising little fantasy poker competition entry on the line. What do you guys think?
John knows this, yeah?
I don't know actually. I thought maybe it might be Gareth.
No, it's not Gareth.
No.
Leigh, Chris.
No, can't fathom, I guess.
Can't fathom. Leigh.
It's a very good Photoshop, that's for sure.
It's pretty good, isn't it? All right, shall I flash up who it is?
Yeah, go for it.
It's not Joe, is it?
Oh wow! Okay.
Poker Pops. Is your neighbour there, Chris? Poker Pops.
Yeah,
David Amos. I must have sat with him in about 100 poker tournaments, and I can't go doing that.
That's just his normal weekend outfit when he's a gig.
Well, he came up. It was the bike parked outside was the giveaway.
Very good.
To be fair, I've never seen Dave with hair, so
I have to say he looks quite smart with a little mohawk there. I think he'd do very well with that.
While you're giving the answers, do you want the answer to the other question we've all forgotten about earlier?
Oh, which one did we not do?
The ones under 40.
Oh, I thought you did those. I thought you said it was.
Yeah, you did. Adamo
and
the other one.
They were the under 30s before race.
Oh right, who are the under 40s then?
The under 40s are.
Do they not count as under 40s as well? I just assumed it was
Yeah, we're the T's and C's here.
They haven't got more than 4 prices. The ones who got more than 4 prices under 40 is Mercier.
Is he under 40?
He's about 30. He's about 36, I think.
Mercier.
35.
He's got to be about 52.
He's been around for a very long time, isn't he?
He can't be under 40.
He's got a hairline of a 50-year-old.
Jesus, that's amazing.
Let me check, but I believe he is. And the other one is Brian Hastings, who's got 6.
He can't be under 40 either.
Has Brian got 6? Really? Wow.
He was.
Wow.
Yeah, I guess he was.
Mercier was born in 86.
Really? Holy Jesus! I mean, he's been around forever.
Wow, that's
Brian Hastings. I'm pretty sure he's 35, 36, both of them.
Do you think anybody will ever? Do you think anyone will ever catch Phil Hellmuth?
Yes.
Bracelets wise, do you think poker players these days have got the longevity to want to stick it out as long as the likes of him and Daniel and Doyle Brunson?
Well, there's more events, Lee, right? There's more events, but they're a lot bigger.
Yeah.
I mean, you've just got to have a love for the game for someone to do it. They would need to literally play every single tournament throughout the 7 weeks.
There's so many events now, and there's a load of players who are like on 6, 5, 4. A load of them on 4 bracelets and 5 bracelets. Yeah.
But I was thinking just to kind of, if you think back to the kind of the UK poker scene, maybe sort of 8-10 years ago, and the names that were playing regularly and absolutely smashing it, and most of them have just kind of moved on and do something else, and don't they might still be playing, crushing it online maybe, but you don't see as much of them in live events. And it's always interesting when you see one of them come back and they're back playing for a bit. Oh wow, that's unusual.
Simon says Hastings the cheat. Well, that takes us back, and all I can say in response is put your hand up if you've never thought of doing something wrong. No, can't be him. Can't be him.
No. So many of these
hold on
in the background.
Pure innocence. Yeah, I don't think so.
Hastings, yeah.
But that's going back. Was that when he was with Card Runners or in the Card Runners days? Is Card Runners still a thing?
Wasn't that the thing with what's he called? The guy from bloody hell. What's the name? Isildur won.
Oh Christ, is he still a thing?
Wasn't it the time when the two Brians were trying to outfox him?
I can't remember. I mean, poker had a lot of scandals.
Brian Townsend, I think, and Brian Hastings. That they were sharing histories and sharing the screens or something, and to get the better of Isildur.
Oh, there's been so many little scandals that I've sort of forgotten half of them, but I do remember there was something.
I know. There's so many players who've got something like in the background. Oh, you had fake account on Stars.
That's the one. Evidently, that is the one.
And now, now the legislation's got so tight, you can't do anything. So without proving proof of address and this, that, and the other. And so it has gone. I mean, certainly in the UK, it's gone super strict, isn't it? So.
Oh, don't let me sound off on that, because the gambling commission is just destroying well, not only poker but just betting in general, the things that they're trying to bring in. I know about problem gamblers that need help and they need help to stop, but it can't be at the detriment to the rest of the population who are sensible with their bets.
Yeah.
Some of those players, the things they used to do. I was reading Bonomo was playing 6 accounts at the same time in the same tournament, years ago.
Oh really? Oh wow.
Technically very difficult to do. I mean, I don't know how the hell you do it, but there you go.
You'd need 6 different internet connections to start, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
On dial-up modems. Lee, you've had an accident here. Didn't see the hand. Wasn't paying attention. But
well, I didn't. Nothing was shown. It just ran out pretty horribly, and so we.
Do we have equity in this hand?
Not really.
Bugger and damnation.
Well, right move, because I'd flop. Oh, we would have been good. We'd have been very good in the end. But,
we got there.
Well, I had bottom pair, but against 2 players, I'm not. So well, it wasn't the one short stack I wasn't worried about, but yeah, of course, typically then the turn is everything that you want. But you're not in the hand anymore. So so we're down to 8 bigs. Average stack's about 23. So yeah, we're going to need to get a little bit lucky and get back in the game here. But not over yet. But still 20. It's hit 40 runners, so I think it's can't be far off the guarantee now. Actually, it's still overlaying by about 2,800. So a little way to go yet before it hits that. But I'd imagine it's another 40 minutes late reg, so it's going to get there. I would have thought there or thereabouts anyway.
Yeah, when does the casino event start? Because that's effectively event number 1, isn't it?
I believe that's Tuesday it starts.
Oh my God! So it's as close as Tuesday. And well, I don't know about you guys, but I always this time of year subscribe to PokerGo to watch a bit of it through the summer. Do you do that, John? Chris, I'm guessing you're far too busy to be doing that. You're getting the live.
I don't. I've got a work login, so.
You've got a work login. You literally have a work login. It involves a door. Yeah. John, you don't?
I don't. I do it the old-fashioned way. Yeah.
Are you reading Poker News?
I don't, depending on newspaper clippings and.
You're reading Poker News.
I send a smoke signal every 5 hours.
Yeah.
I'm using a range of information sources, but that's not one of them. No, I don't.
You can't. What? Poker News isn't one of your sources? Surely that's a bluff. Come on, guys, call him on that. That's a bluff. Don't get away with that.
Pay for something, then
Poker News.
No,
you're talking about PokerGo.
Yeah, I understand where PokerGo is. It's great and it's entertaining and it gives you a good flavour of what's going on there. But actually, from a detail point of view, what's going on with a particular tournament across.
Oh, you don't get any of that.
Yeah, no. So it's not going to give you any of that whatsoever. And you've got to have the time to want to sit there and watch it.
Yeah. For me, it's the main event. You can't really watch mixed games on it. I mean, you can, but it's the main event. Love when the main event starts. I could easily watch, a little bit of day 1, a little bit of day 2, and just, particularly if you get British players or Irish players in the mix somewhere, it's nice to follow them a bit early if you can.
To be fair to PokerGo, they are trying to stream more of the mixed games this year. I think they're planning to live stream 1/3 of the final tables, so it's a lot more than previous years.
Well, Maury, we had Maury on the Orbit going back a while, Leigh, and he loves his mixed games. And very much wanted to do more of them. Funnily enough, one of the stories that he told on that was about the challenge that they have in keeping everything cool, from a pure streaming point of view, driving all of their tech and stuff. He said everything just gets so hot. So they spend, I think, a lot of money just trying to keep everything cool to ensure that it doesn't go under.
Yeah, the kit that they have there for all of this kind of stuff, it's just phenomenal.
Yeah, it's got to be. And I know most of it is really aimed at just the poker, the poker community. Really, if ever poker could actually kind of find a wider audience. They're out on CBS, aren't they, Leigh?
I don't know what sort of viewers. I've no idea what sort of viewers they get for it, but whatever viewers they get, I don't know for that sort of thing. But it is a very impressive thing to see the setup and what's going on, and for you, Chris, to get to work bang slap in the middle of it. You must still pinch yourself every day to go, this is I get to do this.
Yeah, I have to say it completely changes when the main event's in town, because when I got the live streams, it's literally it's all computerized fixed cameras on them.
Yeah.
When it comes to the main event, it's a full-scale TV production, and there's at least 100 people working on the show, and it's absolutely insane.
Wow.
The amount of runners it is. And it was just funny to see Cara Scott looking absolutely beautiful in a beautiful blue dress, but on her feet she had these horrible green slippers on. They look like Kermit the Frog's feet.
Oh no! But, listen, guys. The captain is off to bed. Night, folks. Thanks for promoting Fantasy APAT 23. Glad to do so, Carl. Hope you break that record of runners. That would be amazing. And our favorite Swiss person is out there, Marianne Gerber. Hi from Switzerland. Hi to you, Marianne. Hope you're well. And the crew We're going to miss you guys at Dust Till Dawn in August. I know you can't come over this time, but hopefully we'll see you next year.
Yeah, absolutely. And on upcoming events, I did mention it last night. We're up in Edinburgh in a couple of weeks' time. So the holding tanks and the online day one for that are already in the GG lobby. There'll be satellites running next Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, if you want to get involved in that. But if you want to buy in and guarantee a seat for that event, you can do that on GG Poker now if you want to do that. Tom and I will be up in Edinburgh and we'll be live streaming the Sunday on the show.
I think that was going to sell out quickly. Scotland is always
funnily enough, I was
popular.
chatting to Davey Blacklaw last night, who medalled in one of the events after with the show last night, and he said he was expecting it to sell out up in Edinburgh. They have a couple of popular weekly events on a Friday night and a Saturday that get decent runners already. So I think if you're thinking of traveling or fire at the online day one and then just come up for the day two, then that's the way to do it.
Don't say firing when you're talking about games at the Maybury, please.
Okay, yeah, that's a fair comment.
Bring a vest, and I'm not talking about like one of those little white things. Bring a vest if you're going to play in Edinburgh.
Yeah, we've had a couple of venues where there's been incidents, not whilst we've necessarily always been there, but there was where did we used to do with the one of the hotels in Dublin, John, wasn't it? Used to be where the IPO is that had an incident, boxing related, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, it was the Regency. I'm not sure, did it change its name again?
I think they changed their name to try and move away from the incident.
I don't remember what they changed it to, but
is it the Bonington?
Yeah.
The Bonington, yes, the Bonington Hotel.
Yeah.
I think that those gangs, Daniel Canaan, they were, somebody got shot, didn't they? Did he get killed? I think somebody got killed, actually.
But it wasn't an APAT event. I'm just to make that clear. Yeah.
In the same room that's used for the poker. And when we went for the next poker event, I think there was a bullet hole still somewhere.
Oh, wow. Yeah, there's bullet holes in the Maybury. I'm sure.
Now,
just from the sausage rolls.
And talking of that type of thing, how are you feeling about going back, Chris, after what went on in Vegas last year? We had you on the show afterwards talking about that very night. I was there, nowhere near it. But, do you have any thoughts about it, or just it's just one of those things and we move on and it wasn't real, so we don't worry about it?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm probably gonna have mixed feelings the first time I step into the Paris, because that was literally the last time I was in that room. That night. So I'm just gonna plow on like I normally do, but hopefully there's no flashbacks. But yeah, it was what it is. I think Poker News has brought in some new safety protocols, which I'm going to read up on later this week. So I know where to hide now.
PTSD in Vegas is normally related to smelly poker players as opposed to shooters, I think. Yeah. Listen, Frank's out there. Hi guys, news on the Ireland team for WCOEP next week. Well, unless Frank knows something that we don't, WCOEP isn't next week, right?
No, I'm guessing he's meaning
it's
he's
coming
going to
next week.
I'm assuming he's going to give us news of the team next week. I think is what he's saying. So
Frank,
we'll do.
Would you like to come on? Come on, tell us what the team is. That would be nice. We can have a little reveal.
That would be good.
We'll dial you in. That'd be cool.
Excellent. Good. Well, I'm still clinging on with some chips here, but don't hang around for me, Des, because it's this might be over fairly.
I've spent enough time with these guys, Lee. Time to geez, what? I don't get paid enough for this. Are you kidding me? What? Listen,
you get paid.
In services. Chris, we didn't discuss the football, right? Because there's a football-free zone.
We didn't discuss the football because John doesn't like football.
I know. I didn't want to say that. I didn't want to make him feel uncomfortable.
No. John. Hey. John openly said last week, he said, I zone out when you're talking football. I don't worry about it.
I got to ask just this one question. Chris, am I right in saying you're a Borough fan?
I am for myself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you must have been really disappointed. This isn't a rub down or anything, but
It sounds like one. I mean,
no.
yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you looked at the Luton Coventry final. Wasn't an outstanding game, I didn't think. Hard to see how either of them would do the business Luton now. I mean, I thought Luton were slightly the better team, it has to be said, than Coventry. Hard to see how Luton can survive in the Premier League next year. Are you sitting back thinking there goes a hell of an opportunity?
Bit mixed feelings because like when Michael Carrick took over, like we were
you were in a dark place.
We were
right?
heading to League One, so it was a miracle that we made the playoffs in the first place. For how the run we went on. So I think it's a good opportunity for someone to rebuild and then like win the championships next season.
Yeah.
I do think Luton will come straight down, but I think Sheffield United will as well. Only got a small budget for next season because they were on the verge of going administration unless they got promoted.
20 million, I hear.
Yeah, 20 million transfer budget I think we got, and like that's I'll get you about 5 championship players with current run rates. So.
But do you think can Burrow turn around and repeat the season? Do you think under Carrick next year, given that he has the full season and stuff, that they can actually do playoffs or better?
I think it depends on the business we do because we haven't got like a strong nucleus of the squad at the moment because we've got no number one goalkeeper at the moment. We need probably another couple of defenders. And we probably need another midfielder, I think, because what the playoffs showed us, we lacked a bit of pace on the wings, other than Isaiah Jones. I think that's what stopped us from going up automatically this year was we just leaked too many goals.
And ironically, Chris, with Leeds, Leicester, and I include Southampton in this going down, actually, those are 3 pretty decent teams going down from the Premier League this year. I mean, those aren't your normal relegated cannon fodder over the season, albeit none of them had good seasons. But there's a decent amount of strength across all of those teams next year, although Leicester might leak players left, right and centre. Now, we'll have to see.
We might need to get lucky here.
What have you got, Lee? Believe me, none of these guys are watching.
We need hearts. We need a lot of hearts.
Lee. You're in trouble. You're in trouble.
Or a queen. Take a queen.
Well, it's not hearts.
Take a queen. No, 10's no good. 10's no good.
Unlucky, Lee.
And that's me done for.
Unlucky, Lee. Well,
I don't know what. I'll be honest. I don't know what the 5s is doing. So after the Kings reshoves, what is the 5s doing in there? Goodness me. That's not something they want to be doing in a hurry. That's not in Dara's book.
Yeah, no, he was looking for a race, any race. I have to say, any race.
Wow.
Well, I guess, look, guys, with that exit, we'll call it a night. It was brilliant having you both on. World Series is so big in the poker world. You're both contributing a ton to it over the next several weeks. So best of luck in your endeavors, both of you. Chris will be thinking about you wearing out all of that shoe leather or sole or whatever.
You're just going to think about him. I'm going to fly over and buy him a beer.
Let me be very clear.
I'm making a proper effort. I mean, come on. I mean, seriously, you're just going to think about him?
I'm sitting back on a Saturday watching poker go, I will think about him.
Yeah.
Good luck with the RV
We'll be there for you, Chris. I'm bringing people out with me as well, so we'll be there for you. Don't worry about it.
Sounds like a plan to me, man.
The guys are going to buy you $1 hot dogs, Chris, and drinks that really should have checked before you consume them. John, similarly, good tidings with the final entries. Got to get my own entries in yet. I've got the link, but crikey, it looks like hard work. Just plugging all of those names in there. But I'm sure it'll be another cracking success. Look forward to reading the updates from you both. Have a great World Series, and we'll touch base again back in October, November when it finishes.
Yeah. Look forward to it. I've got Chris's team in tonight. Actually, I'm disappointed he didn't pick himself this time because he's got the distinction of being the only picker in history who picked himself.
I like a bit of confidence.
Yeah, I'm not planning to play any WSOP events this year, so that's why I admitted myself. But the plan was last year was to min cash for Casino Employees event and substitute myself out, but it didn't happen.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with a bit of ambition, I have to say. Right, so listen, why don't we park it there, guys? Thank you both very much for coming on. Have a smashing series. Everybody else have a great week. All of the tourneys kicks off again tomorrow night on GG. Leigh and I will be back next weekend on Sunday night.
And safe travels for those that are flying out, because I know some guys are heading out this week for a very early Vegas trip. So if you're traveling, if APAT is traveling this week, safe travels, guys. Enjoy yourselves.
And any APATers who find themselves in Vegas on a Sunday afternoon who would like to phone in or give us a little update or show us a bit of footage of where you are, please do. We absolutely love doing that sort of stuff. So have a great week, everyone. Sorry, John, go for it.
I was going to say, if any of them are playing, if they let us know, then we'll try to highlight them in the updates.
Beautiful.
Cool.
We try to anyway, but if they let us know, it's easier.
Brilliant.
Super.
Yeah, and if there's any APATers who want to be highlighted in any of the tournaments I cover, just drop me a PM on Facebook and I'll try and get you in the coverage.
Absolutely brilliant. Love it, guys.
Brilliant.
Right, have a smashing trip. Night, everybody. See you next week.
Cheers.
Good night.